as I was saying, market conditions aren't the greatest right now. I think it's just personally for me, like all these years, I just feel like don't try too hard. Like just tone down the swing trading portfolio, and then just kind of focus on like near-term trades that you think you could win. If we're going to try and play a near-term trade on Bitcoin right here, and what I see while we have it on the screen, basically nice breakdown fake out, right? Fake breakdown. Oh, essentially it did break down. Broke down, tapped the 200-day moving average right here, the pink line. And then now with the government catalyst news, pushes right back up above that 90K mark right there. Now, one could go long on a reversal play at the 90K right there because the assumption here is that it comes back within this range right here, right? So then it could be a trade right here, right? And you could trade it up to like the mid level of the range, take off half or whichever, and then hold a little bit for expectation to maybe hit the upper range over here, or basically hit resistance at 100K. But that's pretty much it for now. We don't really move higher until we basically clear this 110, 110K right there, right? Because that's when the markets get really excited when you basically push all-time highs. I guess this thing ain't working today, so I'm just gonna keep it as that. That's fine. Uh, just leave that. But yeah, that's Bitcoin right now. It could run next week, but I mean, looking at some of these right here, these were setting up really well, but it just took forever, right? And so that could be one of the best qualifying, factors out there for if you take a position and trade every week. Like usually when I take a position, I expect it to go somewhere, right? I expect it to break out and move higher. But then if it drags along for like weeks and weeks and weeks, like, and I progressively increase my stop, then if it doesn't meet my criteria, I just get out and then go on the next one. And that would have worked really well because like obviously like yeah, like you saw the bump up in price action over here, right? It cleared the again, we're looking at Coinbase right here. It reclaimed the 200-day moving average, pushed out this trend line right here, started moving up, and then started consolidating, suggesting that I wanted to go higher. And then you probably think like, okay, it's going to go higher. You take a position, but then like weeks and weeks, it just goes into like choppy mode right here, right? And it starts flirting with the 20-day moving average, and then finally it fails 300 right there. So then it's just like action like that. You want to be picky. You want to be like, nope, it didn't follow through the way I expected to, right? And then look at how it kind of played out now. It's just like choppy. And really, you don't want to go back in until like a strong confirmation, right? You might have had like a peak out right here. This would have been a nice confirmation, but then that failed, and then you would probably got stopped out if you follow your rules. So this would have been my second trade attempt right here, in anticipation that it would go over 300. But Bitcoin wasn't performing, so obviously this one's not going to perform either. So mostly, these. I mean, come next week, now with Bitcoin pushing over back into like that 91K range, these could definitely be plays for the coming week. But the plays wise, it's just like, I mean, it's not the big, big gigantic move, but I just think like you'll get a range between like the 200-day and the 50-day moving average, right? So that's sort of like what I'm seeing for these. Um, but yeah, let me see. Hold on. Let me pull up. Uh, close this out. Let me just clean my other screens a little bit, and there we go. But yeah, folks, for the most part, the markets aren't the greatest conditions right now. And I just kind of like step back and just focus on the investor journey. The investor journey for me is just like keep studying, keep practicing. So I don't mind putting in the hours. So today is probably going to be just another, Sunday lecture where we put in the hours. What I want to do today is, yes, I'm going to cover markets. Yes, I'm going to cover some plays, but there aren't many plays. If you guys have stocks you want me to look at, always feel free to ask. But yeah, and then the second half, I actually have three reports I do want to cover, right? So NVIDIA had earnings. We want to look at that report. Elastic, again, this is one that I wanted to play. I'm eyeing this one as well. They also released an Investor 2025 report that I want to look at, right? This one looks interesting to me because it's kind of strong in this sort of like, pullback in software that we're seeing right now. And there's also like sort of like the whole generative AI stuff. So this one I know could be a big runner, and I would keep an eye on this one, right? This would be money for later, but for now it's just like, all right, we just gotta wait, just give it time. So yes, they do have like a 50-page report. Let me see, 44-page report. I actually want to go through this on the second half. So second half is gonna be pretty report heavy. So Elastic. NVIDIA also has their report. I think this would be helpful, especially like if we equip ourselves in like the next chapter. And then the third one, I do have a pretty strong report by Iconic over here. But then this one's a little bit dated, but I figure like, hey, let's just all brush up on our AI skill set because I think that's going to be the most important thing moving into 2025 and beyond. But yeah, folks, that's going to be the session today. Let me know if you have any questions. If not, I could start off with, should I start off with the big macro picture, get you guys calibrated to the just, I guess, the continuing yellow light, or should I just go straight into stocks and we'll discuss from there. Let me know if you guys have a preference on that. If not, I will be just diving right into it. Let me sip on some water too. Okay, let's talk about our Q Secure investment a little bit because I was actually looking this one up, and then we'll go into stocks. So let's see. So this was interesting to me. Okay, so this is Two Bear Capital. Again, Crunchbase, they updated their website. I'm not a super big fan of how this looks like. If you notice, it kind of looks new, right? But it is what it is. If we go in here and we look up QSecure, for those of you who invested with me,